Hey everyone, welcome to the M&R show. I'm Ron,
And I'm Malcolm.
and today we're going to be talking about the Boston Celtics and the Washington Wizards, their matchup, and a synopsis of both of their seasons. Since we're both fans of both teams, well, of our individual teams. So, Malcolm,
Now, Ron, before we even start, I definitely have to talk about what you've been doing today. You went and had a cookout with some chicken, did not even hit me up or anything like that, even though we're far apart, but that's not the point.
definitely was
You're
on the
supposed to
grill
sit,
today.
you're supposed to send it over.
Definitely was on the grill. The chicken, some barbecue chicken. Make sure you get that Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue. It can't be any barbecue. Let's make sure we all are using that. But yeah, so next time
But
definitely a plate though. A plate next time for sure.
oh yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Let's just continue on my disappointment after I just seen that. But disappointing is really what the Celtics season. I mean, to be honest, we're talking about the Celtics and Washington Wizards play in which at the end of the day was not supposed to happen. To be honest, if you look at the Celtics and their season, it was just a disappointment. I can't tell you to sit down here and say that I have found a positive from this season. I haven't. Um, Jalen Brown has been out for the year. We have dealing with a lot of injuries. We are number one as far as the league wise in COVID, in health and safety protocols. So
Wizards too,
I
for
think,
real.
yeah, so it's just a lot of things that's been going on for the Boston Celtics organization that we have to, something to think about. Now, headed into this playoffs, I think Boston, have to do things without Jalen Brown, since Jalen Brown was one of their guys who was a top 20 point per game scorer. We have to fall a lot on guys as in Kimball Walker. Jason Tatum needs to take the next step. Evan Fournier needs to continue on his improved, playmaking ability, especially he's been doing very good with his playmaking abilities as of late and scoring abilities. To be honest, Celtics have to be healthy to be able to be prepared for this opportunity against the Wizards. That's all I have to say. To be honest, that's what it comes to be honest.
Yeah, it's funny because I think the Wizards are the team that gave Boston COVID because we were the first team this year that had COVID like crazy in the beginning, and I think once we played Boston, that's when Tatum got infected and everything. So I'm like, yo, that's pretty fun. I mean, it's not funny, but it's a coincidence that these teams are now meeting in the playoffs and they both, had COVID. But yeah, the Wizards season has been definitely a roller coaster. They're 17-6. The last games. We ended very strong, but at the end of the day, it did start very rough. Westbrook was getting acclimated with the team. He started absolutely atrocious. He was shooting, it was like 37% from the field at one point. Of course, he's got up now to 44. Bill was like shooting almost too much in the beginning. He was kind of our only shot creator. He's kind of toned that down with a more efficient game, more threes, and get into the lane, less mid-range shots. Um, we did lose Thomas Bryant. We did lose Denny. So we still are missing some pieces like Boston. Boston is missing some pieces. I know we're gonna get into the actual matchup in a second. But I mean, I don't know. I would probably give the Wizards season a B because I mean, this is kind of around what people were kind of saying. People were kind of saying Wizards were gonna be like 7th, 8th seed. I personally thought we were gonna be like 9th or 10th seed, but realistically, the 7th through 10 now are the same seeds. So realistically, it doesn't really matter where you fall 7 to 10. So yeah, I think this is kind of around what people expected from the Wizards. We just kind of start off where people were kind of scared, like, oh crap, Wizards gonna be like the 12th seed. So I think now they're fine. I think they're starting to pick up some steam, and now we're gonna get into the matchup between Boston and the Wizards. Since this is, I'm a Washington Wizards fan, and this is a Boston Celtics fan, so it's a
Yeah,
hell of an episode for
yeah.
us. So I'm gonna let
Expert
Malcolm get back
analysis,
to it.
huh?
What he thinks is, what is his any insight, anything on this game that he knows about?
Oh
What he,
yeah. Just try to have one little comment piggyback off what you said. I
yeah,
guess Scott Brooks saved his job for another year, huh? But
freak, freak.
that's
That
Ron's
is,
that is
yeah.
Ron's best
I'm
friend. That's
I'm
Ron's
sorry,
buddy.
Wizards fans. Yes.
Yeah, that's Ron's guy. But as far as matchup wise, I think this could be good for Boston in the fact as in their bigs. We see what their bigs have done for the Wizards. They have improved mightily, but at the end of the day, they struggle. They really struggle with a lot of bigs. And I guess you have guys as in Tristan Thompson and the healthy Robert Williams is be able to, cause, a lot of the Wizards bigs some fits. We still have Jason Tatum. You don't have anybody who can be able to match up with the guys in Jason Tatum. You have
No.
Marcus Smart. You have Marcus Smart still, even though he can be able to guard a guy as in Bradley Beal. We're really going to have to figure out who should we guard the most? Because at the end of the day, we don't have Jaylen Brown, even though Jaylen Brown was very questionable as a defender this year, which I have a lot to say
Who's the
about
small
that.
four for Boston? I'm pretty sure the fans want to know too. Who's starting? Where's the Boston starting five? I personally don't know. So I
Our
know, but I
starting,
didn't know.
oh, okay, so our starting five is for right now, Kimba, Marcus Smart, Evan Fournier,
Oh,
Jason
Fournier.
Tatum, yeah,
Yeah.
and Robert Williams. It
Oh,
might
Williams
change
is
up.
back.
Well, assuming healthy, they have
Okay.
all, they all
Okay.
have, been
Yeah.
out for a week. Assuming healthy, I don't know about the availability of Robert Williams. They said that he should be ready by the playoffs, but we'll see. But assuming health wise, I think that's the lineup right there. I think this lineup can be able to interchange a lot. We have scoring on this lineup. I think the only problem that we have with Boston is going to be the bench. You take Evan Fournier off the bench, which we wanted him to be on the bench to be that sixth man of the year for us, but it's not going to happen because he's in the starting lineup. This bench has to be able to produce because that will be our downfall. Guys as in Peyton Pritchard, Romeo Langford, and them boys will have to produce because if they don't produce, it will really make or break us being really in the playoffs, to be honest. I think Brad Stevens is the better coach over Scott Brooks. I mean, we all
Oh
understand that.
yeah,
We
no
all
one's there.
understand that.
Okay. That
So
was
I can
yeah.
I can be able to trust Brad Stevens with making sure he has put these players in the right places. It's about the players to be able to execute and give effort. Boston's problem this season was effort. And playing against a team as in a guy as in Russell Westbrook who's going to give you doggone 500% of effort, I think that we're going to have to be able to closely match that. We're not going to be able to match Russell Westbrook type of intensity and effort, but we can be closely be able to match that, which can be able to be better than half the whole team of the Washington Wizards. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, Boston has the best player in the series, clearly Jason Tatum. So they have the best player and they have the best coach. So usually it's not a series, it's one game. So
Yeah.
usually that means you win a series, one game. Still, you probably have the advantage. The Boston's technically the favorite 1.5 points, which is, to be honest, that's pretty even. When it's 1.5 points, that means it's like really close game. I don't really know. I mean, of course, Wizards fan, I hope we win. But I think both teams just have an equal chance. I don't think it's like a too big of a gap. Like the game really could swing because it's like first is Rob Williams going to play because he's a really good rim protector. But if he's not 100% or he's not healthy, it's like who's going to be guarding Westbrook if he gets a chance to go to the rim. They do have Grant Williams, but it's not the same as when Robert Williams is is playing center. I saw you also do have a center from the Bulls, right? But I don't think he's not really
You talking about Luke Cornett?
yeah, Cornett. I don't
Yeah,
think
Cornett. Yeah, he's not going to be in the rotation
he's not really
all
a
the time.
rim.
Yeah.
So it's really it's a lot of moving parts, really. And I want to see who's going to guard Tatum. I'm pretty sure it was Rui Hachimura when we've played them because not really because he can guard him more so he's just 6'9", and he's not slow. So he's a body just to put him for their whole game, and he's young, so minutes don't really kill him as much as the other players. Mm-hmm. Now the Wizards bench has actually been decent lately, which is for the Wizards is insane to even think about it like that. We have Neto and Ish Smith. They've been good. I want to see the Pritchard and Romeo Langford because they have two guards in the midst that can both get at it, and so do we. So that's going to be a very interesting matchup, I think, as well. Will Bertans actually make a three? He might hit 8, he might hit none. So he's one of those shooters that can get extremely hot or cold. So I'm really, really excited to see what happens. And Westbrook, this is almost like a playoff game. He hasn't had his best playoffs in the last 3 years, I would say. It's going to be interesting to see in a playoff level game, what does he do? And Bill too, for real. But
I mean, Bill's dealing with a hamstring injury, and he was horrible last game. To be honest, he was struggling. Yeah. As you can greatly advertise. I definitely think the biggest X factor of this whole game will be Davis Bertans. As you can see, he is a guy that probably will lift Washington to different heights if he can make his shots. But if he can't make his shots, he can't defend. So you both have two liabilities on the court that you have to take them off, and it won't help out either because you don't have an extra score to actually free up lanes for Russell Westbrook. But that's the biggest X factor. I don't really think anybody on Boston is the biggest factor. Kimba, if he's healthy, if Kimba's healthy and Kimba is playing the way he's playing, we have no
Smart
problem.
Threes. Smart because Smart I've seen a game with Marcus Smart at 8 threes before, but then it's like he's streaky too. Like I don't know, like he can shoot, but it's just he's streaky, and sometimes he make the craziest shots, but he missed like a layup. He's one of those players that I can really see drop 30 points, and I'm gonna be pissed about because I'm like, why you like? But it's like, bro, he has game. He's just streaky with his
And
game.
Marcus Smart is those type of players that, well, at first he was the type of players that he can make the shots that he can make because at the end of the day, on the defensive side, he'll be able to bring it back up, get it back. Now, he's using his role a lot more than, we probably would think that he could, with the shots he's taking and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, he is the best playmaker in our starting lineup. Is when I can say that he's our primary playmaker in our starting lineup. So there's going to be a lot of, duties that he has to understand, especially he can help change the game. He can make or break the game by the way he does his turnovers. He can force turnovers, but at the end of the day, he can, give the ball to other people, the team too, by what these passes that he do that, that won't be able to score for our team at all. So I think that's one thing that Marcus Smart has to really learn on. But I really think he could be an X factor, but the biggest X factor is Davis Bertans, because the fact is he could be so good and he could be so bad at the same time.
Yeah, and the Wizards picked up Daniel Gafford. I know he's been pretty trendy on Twitter lately because he's been, since he got to Wizards, he's been amazing. But we all know Westbrook with centers, he makes a center like a Hall of Fame. But like, bro, Robin Lopez was 9 for 10 yesterday. We all know Steven Adams. We've seen him without Westbrook. Like, out of any position that Westbrook will elevate, the center position is the absolute main position he elevates insanely. So I'm not saying Gafford isn't good, but right now him and Westbrook are an amazing tandem. We also have to look at the Bill versus Tatum. It's Bill, which is like his nephew, or just like his childhood friend that he knew, something like that. Regardless, every time they play, they both trying to go at it. So this is going to be a game Bill's not going to try to come out, even because of the hamstring. I think it's going to be this game because he does not want Tatum to have this one up on him in a play-in game. And same with Tatum, though, as well. I think this is game. I think Tatum, 35 points type of game. This is his. Again, we have no one that can truly guard him. So 35 points is probably what he's looking at. And who's really taking shots from him? Kimball Walker is going to be the other guy. I'm assuming he's going to be taking some shots. But overall, Tatum is probably going to take 20 shots this game, 15, 20 shots. Or he can take enough, really. Really. If he takes less.
Yeah, most definitely. I think the biggest thing that we have to look at, the biggest stat for the Boston Celtics and the Washington Wizards that we have to look at is the second half of the season. The Washington Wizards were 17-6 to finish the season. They were a top 10 offense and top 10 defense during that streak, which is a mass improvement, which is great for them. And Boston went 5-10 following a 6-game winning streak. So that's something that you have to look at and look at the differences between these two teams. One is going up, one is going down. So let's see how it's going to be in the play-in tournament. We'll see.
Yeah. My last thing is that even if one of these teams loses, since they're a 7-8, they do still have a chance to make the playoffs. So don't forget this. Whoever wins this team is the 7th seed. But if the Wizards or Boston, whoever loses, will probably, I'm assuming, play Charlotte, or some people are going for the Pacers. I'll say Charlotte for now. They'll play Charlotte, and that team will get the 8th seed. So even if the team loses, let's not freak out Boston fans. Let's not freak out Wizards fans. You do still have a chance to get the 8th seed. And to be honest, you might want to play the 76ers more than you want to play the Nets.
Most definitely. That's the positive side of being the 8th spot.
I can promise you that, because the Nets will probably have the 3 best players on the floor in every series. Maybe the Boston because of Tatum, but the Wizards, I can tell you for a fact that they have the 3 best players most likely on the floor, and possibly the better coach. I mean, I ain't gonna, as a Steve Nash is just all world coach, but compared to Scott Brooks, he probably is. So, and the Hornets coach is a young coach and Indiana coach. Well, Nate McMillan, we're not even going to. Not McMillan, but the Pacers coach. Not even going to get into that because he's on the hot seat as well. So that's my last thing. Anything else you have to end off with this episode with?
Tomorrow, you said the Hornets. I really like the Pacers. I like what they have with
Sabonis, that's a toss up
with Caris LeVert and Malcolm Brogdon. So I mean, that could be one. But I mean, I have nothing else though. But it's going to be a good. It's going to be a good. Good night. It's going to be a good night for this team, for both of these teams. So hey, just make sure y'all tune in 9 o'clock. All right,
Wizards fans. Let's make sure.
All right, Celtics fans.
Make sure we tuned in 9 p.m. I just want to say, make sure you all following us on YouTube at M&R Show. We've been dropping a lot of content, and I'll let Malcolm drop our IG and Twitter.
Hey, so follow us on IG and Twitter at Malc and Ron Shows. Continue with the improvement, and hey, we appreciate y'all support. We love it. So
All
see
right.
y'all later. Have a great one.
All right.